And hello everyone, welcome back to another C++ tutorial. So in this tutorial we'll be learning how to work with strings, use a bit of string functionality to get a bit more out of our strings. Now, if you could not remember what a string is, then do not fret, we'll be covering it again in this video, because why not? We're anyways talking about strings, so why not cover what they are as well. So a string is a bunch of characters mashed together inside of double quotes. So these right here, the double quotes. Anything between them is a string. That means this text right here, that's a string, hello world. In this case, it's just something readable, but a string can also be something that's not humanly readable. That is a string. So, now that we know that, we can also store a string with an std string. And we can call this whatever we want. We can call this words or something and make that equal to hello. And why did it go to the next line? And now, of course, we can display words here. It should actually just be word because it's one word, but there we go. And now this would still work perfectly fine, and that was a previous command, my bad. And this will work just like with anything. It will display hello now, because we're basically just saying make this word basic, or make these bunch of characters basically equal to this. We have already covered variables. If you have not yet watched my videos on variables, I highly recommend you do, because 99% of the time we're going to be using variables in our lessons. So I do recommend you know what variables are and you do understand what they do. So yeah, so that's the basics. Take note that this is a variable, it's not inside of quotes. If this was in quotes, it would be something completely different. It's not inside of quotes, that makes it a variable. Same here, we can assign a variable on another variable, gee whiz. So let's say we copy this and we make this, instead of that, we can say, we can make that x, right? X is equal to hello, and here we can make that x. Take note, word is not equal to x, because that's a variable. That's a string. When it has double quotes, it's a string. Without double quotes, it's a variable, which means word right there is still going to contain hello, because x contains hello now. We're making word equal to the variable x. If we were to put double quotes here, that would make that the letter x and not the variable x, giving us x instead of hello. So that's very important to take note of. Cool. Now we're going to be working with strings, and with some of the things we'll be doing with strings, it's recommended to do #include and then just string. Take note, everything we do here can also be done inside of a variable. I'm just not going to do that because I feel what's the point when we have a cout perfectly waiting for us right here. Or actually, let's do that. Let's create a variable. Whoops. Std string, and I'm going to call it str for string, and it's going to be equal to hello world. Cool. And this is pretty simple, just str there, and that will display hello world. So let's start with the basics. How can we get the length of a string? Well, it's pretty simple. We just say str.length. Take note of these double brackets there. We do need them. So it's str.length, and this will get the length of a string. And here you can see it's 11. We can also check it by actually counting it, or by selecting it, and then you can see here it's 11 selected, meaning 11 characters. So this is 11 characters long, 11 letters, including that space. You can do the same with size. If I'm correct, that should return the same value, so also 11, because it's basically the same thing inside of a string. Okay, now let's say this string right here is just hello, and take note, I'm leaving a space there. Now below this, we can say str is equal to, whoa, that should be str, is equal to str plus world. This will still give us hello world. Because we're saying this string right there, that variable, is equal to itself plus that. So this will return hello world for us. If I were to comment this out, then we'll only get hello. And the reason I have a space here is so that this, when they get added together, it's not going to add a space automatically. As you can see, there's hello. So you will have to add a space manually. So if we're going to remove that space, then there won't be a space between hello and the world. Now, one thing I do want to show you is that you can shorten this. This str plus, it's kind of annoying saying str plus. So what you can do is you can say plus equals. It's the same thing. It's just instead of saying str is equal to str plus world, instead of saying this, you're just saying str plus equals, which means str is equal to itself plus something else. So if we were to run this, then as you can see, we still get our hello world. Now there's another way you can do this. And this is by saying str.append, and this will append to this string. So I'm just going to cut this and paste it here. So now string here is going to be appended to it. It's going to be appended hello world, which means added to the end, as you can see there. So yeah, that's pretty neat. Now I'm going to say world here again. Now one thing we can also do is we can say pop back, and this will remove the very last letter in our string. So in this case it will be D right there. So now we'll have hello world and not hello world, as you can see there, because we removed the very last character in the string. Cool. Now what if we wanted to test two strings together? So let's say we had another one here, std string, and then we can just say str2 is equal to, and here we can say hello world. How can we test that these two are the same? Well, one way we can do this is, I'm going to do it in here, is we can say str.compare, and it's going to compare it with a different string, like str2. Of course, this doesn't have to be a variable. You can just put this inside of here as well. That will work perfectly fine. And yeah, and this will return true or false, or should I rather say 0 or -1. Where 0 means yes, they are the same, and -1 would mean no, they are not. So if I were to make that a lowercase w, because a capital case W and a lowercase w is not the same at all, then you will get a -32 actually. So it's actually not 0, -1, it's actually 32. So basically, if it's a negative value, it isn't the same. So if we were to add an exclamation mark there and say capital W here again, then now we'll also get a negative value, but this time it will be -1. So yeah, that's the basics of comparing two strings. There are of course multiple ways you can do this. But if the strings are the same, then it will return 0, always. If the strings are not the same, then it will return a different value. For example, if we make this a capital E, then this won't be actually in negatives. This will actually be very high in the positives, like 8,000, as you can see there. Now, we know that this isn't the same because that isn't exactly 0. So yeah, it will just return a value that's not 0 if the two are not the same. Now there's also another way you can declare a string like this. Let's say you don't want to use an equal sign. Well, it's perfectly fine to put this inside of brackets. This is the same as what we've been having this entire time. Just most of the time you'll see it have an equal symbol here instead of brackets, but as you can see, it still works perfectly fine. It's the same thing. So let's say we want to get a part of the string like this right here. We only want hello of this entire string, right? Then we can say dot sub str for substring, and let's say 05. Now take note, strings, the first letter is index or position 0. not position 1, but position 0, meaning H is 0. That's where its position is at. So we're saying 0 here to select the first letter, which is that. If this was 1, then this would select the second letter, not the first, but the second, because it starts from 0. Now, if we were to run this, then you'll see we get hello. And actually, I forgot to save. Now we'll get hello, as you can see there. Now, this right here says how many letters to go. So in this case, it's 5. So it starts here, and then it moves 5 letters, and that goes up until O. If we were to say, okay, start at 3 here, but go 5 letters, then we'll get this one right here at the top. Because 0, 1, 2, and then here's 3. That's where 3 is. It says 5 letters, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is the letters it's trying to get. So if we were to make this 2, that means start at index 3, or position of L, for 2, as you can see there. So yeah, that's how to get a substring, or a part of a string. Before we continue, I would like to talk about escape characters, because they can be very useful. We have, I think, covered them a little bit in the past. But we have multiple escape characters. I'm not going to cover all of them, but I'm going to cover a few of them. For example, \T. This means tab. An escape character starts with a backslash, and then usually a letter to indicate what it is. In this case, \T means tab. So if I say hello, and then world, and let's say I put 2 more \T's here, and an exclamation mark, then now we will get this. So now everything is spaced out by tabs. So that is pretty neat. Same with \N. \N will create a new line. So if we go like this, then now it would be hello, and then on the next line, world, as you can see there. So if you wanted to, you could just do this and put a \N there, and that will also give you that new line at the end, as you can see there. And if you were to remove that, then now you will only have one line, or you will continue at the end, as you can see there. Cool. Now you might be wondering, okay, but if I have a string, how do I add quotation marks? Well, that's pretty simple. You use a \, and then quotation mark. So like \, quotation mark. Same with single quotes. You can either use normal single quotes like this, or you can use \, single quote, \, single quote. So let's run this so you can see the output. As you can see here, we have single quotes with the \ and not with the \. And here you can see we have double quotes. Take note, you cannot do this with the double quotes, because that will split the string. So if we were to do this, as you can see, E doesn't look right, and we have a red line underneath it, because these two are now 2 different strings, because it basically looks like that, and that's not how it should be. That's why you need a \ to escape those double quotes right here. Now you might be thinking to yourself as well, okay, now that's cool, but what if I want a \? Because \'s escape things, so how do I get a \? Well, it's pretty simple. Let's say we say select yes, and then we want to give them \. No. Now we have 2 \'s here, which will result in 1 \, because we want to just have a \, and \'s are used to escape. I'm just going to go std and L here again. Cool. So yeah, that's the basics of escape characters. There's a lot more, but you can go Google them if you want to know more, like vertical tabs and a bunch of extras, but I'm not going to cover so many of them. I'm only going to cover the most used that you'll probably see. Now let's go here and say, hello. My name is Steve. You should call me by my last name van der Westhuizen. And that's actually my true last name, for any of you that may have been wondering. Van der Westhuizen. Anyhow, now we have this very long sentence, and of course you could make this just equal to as well. That's perfectly fine. But I'm just going to keep it like that for now. Now, let's say we want to find a specific piece of text in this sentence right here. Like my, for example, like, hello, my name is Steve. So then we want to find this my there. And take note, we don't want to find this my, we want to find this first one. So what we can do is we can say str.find, and we just say my. And this will search this string for that character, or for that piece of string inside of it. And we'll return the position of it. As you can see, it's 7. So if I were to highlight this and go down here, as you can see, 8 selected. It says 8 selected because that's 8 characters. But remember, this returns the index, the position. And it starts at 0. So there might be 8 characters selected here if you start counting at 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, as you can see. But it starts at 0. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's where we get that. It starts at index 7. But what if we wanted to find my from the end instead of the beginning? Like if we wanted to find this one here. Well, then instead of saying find, we can say rfind, whoa, for reverse find. And that will find the one from behind, the last one. And as you can see here, 47. If we were to select this, go here, it's 48. Just minus 1 and we'll get 47. So yeah, that's how I can find something inside of a string. Now what if we wanted to just find the first of a specific letter? For example, let's say we want to find any letter in A, I, U, E, O. So just vowels. Then we can say find first of, right there. And here I'm going to say A, I, U, E, O. If I were to run this, then we get 1 because 0, and then it finds E at index 1, and E is one of these inside of here. So it's basically searching for one of these characters and trying to find it. If we were to remove E here, then it's going to find O first. So if I go here and I run it, as you can see, we get 4. Because 0, 1, oh, let's go here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, as you can see. So we'll find the first of a letter. And of course, you can also say find first not of. So we'll try to find one that's not one of these first. Let's go hello. So it will skip this one, definitely. And if we run it, then we'll get that comma right there at index 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because the comma is not one of these, because it's find first not of, instead of find first of, which is 2 different things, but they work hand in hand. Now take note, if something is not found inside of here, for example, let's remove that Z there, and we were to put Z here, and take note, it's find first of now, then we'll get a massive number. And this massive number just basically means out of bounds. It doesn't exist. So yeah, you can probably like just put an if statement here, which we haven't really covered, but you can put some logic here that says, hey, is the amount higher than, let's say, 1 billion? Then you're going to be, okay, there's probably not 1 billion letters in this string. So then it's probably not that. Now let's say we want to erase everything after Steve. We don't want them to see the rest. So what can we do? Well, we can say str.erase. And now here we can just find out where that ends. Select all of those. It's 23. 23 minus 1 is 22. So it's going to delete everything from here on out. I might have to say 23 though, because it might delete E as well. But we'll see. We'll see if we're lucky enough for it not to delete E. So let's see here, and it did delete E, but it did delete everything after. So there should be 23 then. I was wondering if it's going to include that, but it does include. So now it will delete 20, the rest after, from here and outwards, because this is at index 23 that. So this will be deleted from the string or erased from the string. Now let's say we want to replace my name here from Steve to something else. So I'm going to say str dot, and before I forget, we cannot do this in here because it's going to actually change it instead of returning something. And here we can say dot replace, and it starts with the start index. So in this case, it should be at S. We go like this, then it's 19. Okay, so the start index is 19. And then how many it should go, so the count. And as you can see, this is a total of 5 characters. So we can say 5. And then we say what to replace it by. I'm going to say Jack. Now if we were to display string here, my name will no longer be Steve, but instead it will be Jack. As you can see there, actually it's S-Jack, so this should be 18. My bad, my numbers are out of control today. And now as you can see, it's Jack. So that's pretty cool, so you can replace an item in a string. Useful thing to do here is you can say str.find, and we can say Steve. Now that will basically automatically do everything for us. As you can see there, my name is Jack because it found it by this one right there, and then we said how much. Now you could also insert something into this. So let's say we want to insert something to string, so we can just say insert. And let's see. Hello, my name is Steve. You call me by my last name, Thunder, and then you see Visthøy, but there's no Z. We want to add a Z here. So what can we do? Well, first we can find where that is. And of course we could replace it, but I want to show you an example here. And then we say where it should start. Now this is going to start here, right? At this index right there, at W. But we want to be at this index up until I, because we want to put something after I. Okay, and that's 6. So actually it's plus 6, my bad. There we go. So plus 6. I'm going a little bit confusing here, but it's okay. And we just put a Z there. And that will insert a Z in there. We won't remove anything, it will just insert it in there. Visthøyzin. Visthøyzin. That's a little bit wrong. That should be a 7 then. Math. Very bad for me. Anyhow, now you'll see it's Visthøyzin. Correctly spelled. Of course, it can be used to make something a bit more extreme. For example, let's say we want to add hello there instead of hello. Then what we can do is we can say we want to find the position of this comma. I'm going to go here and just paste that comma there. And now I'm going to add space there. Now if we were to run this, we'll see hello there. As you can see there, hello there. And yeah, that's all of the string functionality, functions and stuff I wanted to show you and talk about. Thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all again in the next C++ tutorial.